Hey guys, what's going on? This is the Guru of Sports, and this is the last episode for 2023, and this is episode 200, the 200th episode of the Guru Talking Sports podcast. And I'm joined today with my two guys, my man Caden Guru and my man Dante Guru, or actually Dante and Caden. We dropping the Guru name because I'm the only Guru.
Okay.
Hey, how are you, Dante?
Doing good. You?
I'm good. How are you, Caden? Caden, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. All right. You speak
Yeah,
up a little
I'm
bit. All right. I can't hear you. You just speak up a little bit.
I'm speaking up a little bit.
All right, cool. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to talk about the four majors and maybe some of the other little things that we're going to talk about in the world of sports. What do you guys think was the biggest stories in 2023?
Well, I guess I can go first. I know we talked earlier about LeBron and the scoring title, and we also talked a bit about, and I think I don't want to take away from that the golf situation as well with the merger and stuff like that. I think it's really you could argue LeBron, but I think one of the biggest stories definitely this year has to be Otani. I think that's something that we should definitely highlight. He's just been an enormous figure in baseball, and I think that what he's brought to baseball, because again, baseball, I think it's the third sport and everything like that, and it's the third big sport in the country. And what he's done and revolutionized how we view basically a player, because again, we haven't had a player who's pitched and hit as consistently as him. Uh, just pretty insane. And then he also he went to the Dodgers, of course, and he also was able to obtain a contract that allowed another great Japanese player to join the Dodgers as well. So I think Otani is probably one of the biggest stories of the year, how polarizing a player he is for a sport that doesn't get as much buzz as the NFL and NBA.
Exactly. One of the things I wanted to say about Otani is that I remember back in the summer when he played he had a doubleheader, and in the one uh, part of the doubleheader, he had two home runs, and on the second part of the doubleheader where he pitched, he had 12 strikeouts. I mean, there's nobody else in the league, or not in my generation, that I've seen someone come out with so strong of a performance in both hitting and pitching at the same time. I mean, it's remarkable, just totally remarkable. Um, Live Golf, we did mention Live Golf a little bit. I just don't like the way it was formed, and the way some of these guys are basically cutting the line and just basically going over to Live Golf. It's kind of silly to me. Um, Caden, did you have anything that you wanted to add to some of the biggest stories? Besides, okay, let's do it this way. Besides the four majors, what else is the biggest story that you guys can think of? Caden, go ahead.
Um, I'm not really sure. I don't know. There's a lot of throughout different sports. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but I'm not really that sure. So
I got another one that it happened today, which is really funny. Uh, so there was the college playoff situation where Florida State won. They ended up going undefeated and then were excluded out of the college playoffs because their starting quarterback got injured. And I thought that was a really big story. And there was a lot of debate about whether it was right or wrong to exclude them. And today they went and they got destroyed. The largest uh, point differential in a bowl game history, 60-point loss. Obviously, they had guys not playing and whatnot, what have you. But yeah, it's just I don't think anyone believed that they stood a chance. And I do agree that it does suck for the players to do what they did, but it also kind of highlights as well just the moving landscape of the NCAA and how the conferences are, how they hold conference weight moving forward. You know, we got so many teams moving conferences, and you got teams that are going to be in conference with on the West Coast and have teams that are going to play on the East Coast. So it's really crazy right now. So I think that all culminated with Florida State going out there and losing and not getting into the playoffs as well. So I think that's another big story. I think they're going to 8 after this year, correct?
Actually 12.
Also, the new format that's also gaining a lot of traction on college football, and how like these teams that are like in different conferences, how they're going to like project and show like their talent now with the new format, and we'll see like more of a basketball type approach with the format of like implementing new teams into the playoffs, which I always feel like that's better than 4, because 4 is just like, okay, so you got like the bottom, like the 4 team, which is usually a team from a different conference, and then the 3 powerhouses on top of that. So
yeah, because what it is now is that you're gonna see teams that you more or less like. It's probably going to be dominated between the Big Ten and the SEC. I'm not a big fan of the SEC, especially after what I had to witness yesterday, that horseshit play by Ohio State when they lost to Missouri. But the thing is that 12 teams was like too much. They should have made it 6, like in our fantasy playoff, or it should have been like maybe 8. But now, like I said, one of the other things I wanted to mention in this college football thing, the death of the Pac-12. Now, I can't believe that all these schools now are jumping to the point where you only got 2 schools left in the Pac-12. And I think that they're going to be merging with the Mountain West to play teams in their conference as well. I think, after midnight tomorrow or so, it's going to be different. I mean, it's going to be the whole landscape of college football will be different. I mean, it's just like, I don't understand. I'm more or less the old school. I really don't want to see it go, but the way it is, it's just that the TV contracts are making more money and they want to see bigger matchups. That's basically it.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So, okay, we got that. We talked about Liv. One other thing that I think was, I'm going to mention this a little bit later, but there was, most of the sports people that we lost this year, some of them were very major. I'm going to go on to that in a little bit at the end. But, okay, so baseball, we talked about Ohtani. The champ, one of the things that was remarkable that I noticed, and basically you called this, Dante. You said the Texas Rangers were going to win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
You told me, I said, well, they playing up against Baltimore. And I was like, how could you root against your heritage, Baltimore? But guess what? Texas Rangers, we got to give them credit because they went out there and they won it. And they basically did it with building within. They built like this. They got their shortstop, Seager.
Yeah.
They got their second baseman, what's his name? Name's kind of, going, Simeon, Marcus Simeon. And basically built around them, and then they went pitching. But the main thing about the Texas Rangers was their manager. When they brought their manager in, and he already knew how to win.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's the manager's name?
John Francona.
No.
I can't think of it off my head.
Yeah,
did he win with the Cardinals?
No, he won with the Giants. God.
Butcher. not Butcher.
Oh gosh, I can't think of his name. I'm a sports guy. I'm a baseball guy, and I don't even. Oh gosh. Oh, what's his name? Oh gosh, I can't think of his name. I will think of it a little bit later. But what and Caden, what do you think about
Bruce
some of
Bochy.
Bruce Bochy? That's it. I can't believe I couldn't remember his name. Caden, what do you think of baseball when you think of this year?
I think it's like, I mean, I don't really watch baseball that much, but I feel like obviously we have a new champion, and I feel like this year is like a test of like Otani's like his like greatness and valueness, and he set a record for his contract, which is the largest contract in North American sports. But also, it was like it was a test of like throughout the league. You know, the Phillies they were up and down, and the team that surprised me was the Orioles. The Orioles really did good this year, aside from their past years. So it's all around. I mean, it's like it's been a good season. It was a good season. I'm just excited for next year, seeing that Dodger team with Otani.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really good to see. One other thing I want to say, the rule changes were a big thing this year. First year of the rule changes, the pitch clock, the bigger bases, everything that basically, changed the game and made the game a little bit faster. The time, it was a great year with baseball. My man Dave May Jr. He's the scout for the Toronto Blue Jays. I got to give him a lot of credit because he gave me a lot of insight on what was going on in baseball. And believe me, one of the best baseball minds I know I can talk to is Dave May Jr. Dante, do you have anything else to add with baseball?
No, I don't have anything else with baseball. Like I said, I think the biggest was Otani. I mean, the Rangers winning the first World Series is really cool too. I think it was their first, right?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
But I think Otani is just polarizing, and his contract and what he did for the Dodgers with deferring the contract. I think that was just really polarizing with giving Yamamoto in there too. So yeah, for the most part, I just think that those were the big stories for baseball. And I think that was like it's easy to talk about basketball, and football because, like I said, they're our big two sports. We know pretty much everything that goes on, but sometimes baseball gets a little bit to the wayside. We don't know much of what's happening, so I thought it was pretty dope that it was a big year for Otani all around.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's go to hockey right now. We'll circle back to basketball, and football is going to be our last one. But what do you think when you look at hockey? When you basically look at the sport. I mean, we know that it's like the fourth sport. But the thing about it is that I'm like really happy for the Vegas Golden Knights for them winning their first championship. And basically, they've been pretty good ever since they came in the league. They went to the Stanley Cup final and back when they had to play Washington a couple years back. And for me, I thought hockey was pretty exciting. The playoff format was pretty good. You had the Rangers playing, going deep in the playoffs. You had the New Jersey Devils, my Devils, I like them. My Kings went in there. So, it was a couple teams that I liked that really, played pretty good during the hockey season. Anybody else got anything on hockey?
I watched 5 minutes of a Stars game.
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Okay. How about you, Kate?
I watched 5 minutes of a Stars game. That's my hockey know-all.
Oh, okay.
I follow like Barstool Philly on Instagram, and they usually post the Flyers scores. And last year was dreadful, but this year they have the chance to make the playoffs. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, they got their brand new coach, the crazy man John Tortorella. Oh, jeez, I can't. Yeah, you know what? The guru is like can't remember names, can't think of names or anything, so that's what makes me the guru. I know sports, but I can't remember names or anything. John Chatello or whatever his name is. He's basically been around. He's very outspoken, and I think
He won a
last
championship,
year,
I think.
huh?
He won a championship like early mid 2000s, I think.
Yeah, I think he did. He won. I think he won with the uh, Carolina Hurricanes. I think he did win with the Hurricanes. So, like I said, hockey was a good, it was good to see the new kid, Connor Bedard, get in. And, like I said, it was a banner year for the Vegas Golden Knights. And one other, a couple guys from that Los Angeles Kings team that won the Stanley Cup a while back, they were on that Vegas Golden Knights team. So I really, really, am happy for them. All right, guys, I tell you what, let's take a quick break. Or do we have time to take a break, Dante?
Yeah, I think we got a little time.
Okay. All right, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back, and we're going to do hockey. We're going to do basketball, and we're going to do football and call it a day. We're not going to do any NFL picks, but I have a long list of people that we have to say goodbye to. All right, guys, we'll be right back right after this. This is episode 200 of the Guru Talking Sports podcast. Here's our voice actress lady to go to our break.
You're listening to the Guru Talking Sports podcast.
All right, guys, welcome back to episode 200 of the Guru Talking Sports podcast. And we're joined by Dante and Caden today. And like I said, this is the last episode of the year 2023. And we started off with talking about the general sports and stuff. College basketball. College basketball was pretty good. As a matter of fact, the ladies' college basketball was great. We talked hockey. We talked baseball. Like I said, I want to mention this. The ladies' tournament was really, really intriguing to me this year. They were really good. And speaking of women's sports, got to give credit to the Las Vegas Aces because they won the championship for this. I think that was their back-to-back year, and they were really good as well. There's a lot of things that happened in 2023, and what we're going to do right now is go to basketball. And like I said, if we talk in basketball, we got to talk about LeBron James breaking the all-time scoring record of Kareem. So, Dante, what do you think of it? I mean, you already told me what you think.
It's like a thing. I think it's the biggest NBA story, and it's easy to talk about that. I think if you look at that and you say, LeBron, he got the scoring record. What else was there from basketball? I think 100% Wemby. Wemby is a huge story. He's supposed to be the next great player. A lot of size, athleticism, never seen before. I think Wemby is a great story. He's already proven that he's willing to do the things that are going to make him a great player. You already see it now. The team isn't good, but again, that's not always conducive of the star player, and he's going to need a lot of help around him to be, to have a better team. As most players do. Most players have a second star, third star, but the Spurs have one of the worst rosters in the NBA right now. But I say all that to say, Wemby is a great story for the league. I've heard about this kid 3-4 years ago when they were saying that there was a French KD. They kept calling him the French KD. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of stories, hoopshype.com. They wrote a lot of stories about this kid. They kept pushing stories about this kid. And just to see him become the player he is today is pretty amazing. Because like I said, I heard about him. I'm not a big NCAA guy. I don't really follow college hoops. I don't really know much about European basketball. But I knew about this kid Wemby for, like I said, about 3-4 years now. So it's very cool to see that this story come to fruition. We get a great player a soon to become a great player in this league.
Hmm. Now, when you talk about basketball, we have to say we're talking about death and bad. What about the Detroit Pistons? Are already lost like 28 straight games. I
They
mean,
won their games today though. They won against Toronto.
you no, are you serious? They won?
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh my
they won
gosh! Well,
28 straight games.
they
They
did.
lost 20 straight.
Wow, I can't believe that. Actually, I didn't get a chance to check it out, but I can't believe that they actually won. They went 2-1, and then they lost like 28 straight.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So now they're what? 3-29 or something like that.
Yeah, terribly bad.
Well, nobody can top the process though when they lost all those games, right?
Let's see if they go 9-73. Like the process.
Well, they're getting there. They're gonna be there. Anything else in basketball you guys can think of that was pretty big this year? I can think. No,
The Nuggets won. Jokic finally, star player, finally getting his ring. I like Jokic. Like he's really one of those people. He just like doesn't want to be a celebrity, wants to be a regular person, but just happens to be very good at a very expensive job. So, congrats to him and the Nuggets team. I think they were a very good team. Um, I know the Ja Morant stuff was kind of crazy, but I'm happy to see that he's back playing really well after sitting out and serving his time as suspension. But I think those are really the big stories for sure.
yeah. One other thing I want to think. I do want to mention is that the championship of the play-in game or the I'm sorry, play-in tournament, in-season tournament. That's right. Let's get it right. Right. The in-season tournament champions are the Los Angeles Lakers. And who would have thought? Like I said, I never really understood what the hell they were doing. I just knew that they threw up a different color court, floor, and they said they were playing tournament games. But
I actually like the in-season tournament games because the courts were pretty cool. I don't know if the atmosphere was better. I actually went to one of the games. When I was in Atlanta. I went to the Hawks Pacer game, and I got to saw Halliburton play. And he's an upcoming guy, man. I really like Halliburton.
yeah,
But I don't know if the energy was different. But I do think that I do like that they changed the court. They have there's so many possibilities to this, and I think people don't like change initially, but I think this is a good thing going forward.
I think it is too. Like I said, I didn't understand it at first. But like I said, once I start watching it, I thought it was pretty cool. The courts were a little difficult for me to watch because I'm like, I don't like all these blended colors together. I'm getting old, so that's why. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty good concept, and what else can LeBron say that, he hasn't done? Now he's won a, in-season tournament championship. So, I thought it was pretty cool also because they gave money to the guys that usually don't, they're like the, guys at the end of the bench. So I thought that was a pretty good thing too. Katie, your thoughts on it?
In-season tournament, it was definitely something new that the league expanded into, but I felt like it was a success because obviously you see all the different colored courts and all the reaction from the fans, and I feel like it's a good thing. Have the players play for something early in the season because usually teams really don't find their selves in the earlier seasons, so. I feel like it's good. It's good competitive basketball, and it leads to good outcomes. So,
It's good, good stuff. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's go to football. And what do you think? What is the big story? What was the big story in football this year? I got one that I know I got one that's going to blow you guys away.
Hey, Gator, what do you think? Lead us off because I have one, but I I want to wait. I want to see what you got, man.
Well, I have to go with the Super Bowl first. Obviously, the grass was terrible. My Eagles playing.
Here we go.
Our legendary pass rush, but also the call at the end on James Bradbury, the PI. I mean, it's whatever. But the NFL has to call holding on every single play that they went into. But overall, I felt like the Super Bowl was it was a historic game, but I really enjoyed it until the end. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, I thought that for me, I thought it was a couple things, but I'm gonna mention this one: the Jacksonville Jaguars coming back on the San Diego or the Los Angeles Chargers. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, I watched that game and I still can't believe that they actually won that game. I mean, I thought that was one of the biggest things in one of the biggest turnarounds in NFL history, other than the Buffalo and Houston Oilers game years ago. All right, Dante, your turn.
I mean, it wasn't probably the biggest story, but it was biggest for me was Josh McDaniels getting the boot. Man, oh man, he's a terrible coach. He should have never got the job. I don't understand the thought process behind him getting the job. I don't really get it. I really felt like the Raiders were going into a right direction. They were building the Raider culture, and then Mark Davis just got in his head and said, "You know what? I want a Patriot coach." I don't know. These coaches aren't good. Bill Belichick is going to be gone in a few weeks from his team as well. The whole Patriots dynasty is done. It's over with. Leave those coaches alone. They aren't geniuses. There's actual smart people that know football that are around here. You have to actually sit down and have a conversation with them and stop thinking, oh, well, you have a championship ring? That makes you a genius. That's not how that works, man. Josh McDaniels was a terrible coach. He was terrible in Denver and somehow still was able to get not one but two jobs because he took the coach job and he didn't even show up.
Yeah.
He didn't show up. So, again, I can't express how happy I was that they went and fired him. I was so happy. And I'm really hoping that the Raiders continue to have a Raider tradition. Keep Antonio Pierce. Make it the Raider way.
Exactly.
Make it the Raider way. And for me, it was the biggest story. But it is also interesting because the Chargers also fired their head coach after losing to the Raiders.
Yeah, after getting blown out.
Yeah, but he's another terrible coach. But I think it's Brandon Staley.
Yeah,
he's
Brandon Staley.
So I think the coaching landscape is going to, from this NFL season, is going to change. It's going to change crazy. And I think that it's also interesting. I don't want to. Maybe you guys might have missed this too. The quarterback play has been bad this year as well.
Well, yeah, injuries, yeah.
Injuries and stuff like that. So not only we're going to get a lot of coaching changes, we're going to get a lot of quarterback changes, and I'm interested to see how that goes. So it's very interesting year this year between the quarterbacks and coaching changes. But like I said, for me, the biggest story was definitely Josh McDaniels getting fired.
Yeah. All right, I'll tell you what. Here's a couple other things that I wanted to mention. In college football, the biggest story was Deion. Man, you know what? Deion turned that program around. Yeah, they only won 4 or 5 games, but that was a good turnaround for them. And it made college football big right around at the start of this season. Even though they flamed out, they didn't really do that good. One other thing that happened, and basically Tuesday will be the 1-year anniversary of the situation we had with Damar Hamlin. And that was scary. That was one of the scary. Matter of fact, Miss Guru was actually I was off that day because I had to take her to surgery, foot surgery. And guess what? I sat there and I was like still mesmerized because I didn't know what the heck was happening.
Yeah.
And so that was really one of the most. Well, it has a great end. It has a great ending. He's well, he's better, but it scared the hell out of all of us for a while.
Yeah.
Comeback player of the year.
You said what?
He might be I think he's going to win comeback player of the year.
That's what I was actually going to mention. They probably wanted him to be player of the year, but the issue is Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Flacco is going to probably end up being player of the year. So that's the biggest thing. I think that was something that they wanted to commemorate. I think I'm not going to say there's a lot of publicity with it, but I definitely think that they really wanted to. What's the word I'm looking for? They really wanted to highlight that he got better. Football is a dangerous sport, but he got better and everything was okay. But I just think that this was a situation where Joe Flacco was like he's crazy. Like the Browns are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He just came off the couch and just got the Browns in the playoffs. So I think he'll win it, but I think the Hammer story is pretty crazy as well.
Yeah. A couple other little things from the NFL I wanted to mention was the New York Jets. I still cannot believe how bad this season turned out for them. And, I watched that game, the first game of the season. 4 plays in, Rodgers goes down. After all the hype, I mean, they were on, what was that, the show that comes on in the,
Pat McAfee?
No, the show that features the NFL team every year.
Oh, Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks, yeah. They were. Why is it I can't think of these things? I don't know. Guru's mind ain't right. But anyway, Hard Knocks and, all the hype for Rodgers coming to New York and basically, hey, I even got into the hype. I thought that Rodgers was going to be all right. I went out and got a Rodgers jersey. I'm like, then he gets hurt, and I'm like, oh, man, come on. 4 plays? And my question is, how the hell they beat the Eagles?
They just did it.
I don't even know. I don't even want to talk about that, though.
Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, and Woody Johnson wearing a damn Run DMC chain like he, flexing and flossing. Oh, come on, man. And he's sitting around there, and they basically wrecked that team. And guess what? They're bringing all these guys back next year.
Yep.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, honestly, the Jets are going to have a really good season next year.
I don't know.
With the Rodgers incident, that was unfortunate. But they have a really good run game. They have great receivers. They have a good defense. They have a great secondary. I mean, they're pretty stacked. They have a young running back in Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. They have a lot of skill position weapons. So definitely a team to look out for next season.
You know what, y'all say that, but I can't buy into it because, I really thought that this was going to be this is going to be good for the Jets. But I mean, it's like, I even rooted for these guys. I just didn't want to see them do bad. I wanted to see them do good. But I don't know. And like I said, we you see all these different things in football, but believe me, the sideshow that they had all year long, that was it. Yeah. So, how much time we got left? We ain't got that much time left. All right. I'll tell you what. Guys, give me a second here. All right. I'm going to take a break right quick because I think I lost my guys on the Zoom. Anyway, you're listening to episode 200 of the Guru Talking Sports podcast. We'll be right back right after this.
You're listening to the Guru Talking Sports podcast.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports podcast. Well, to finish up with my comments about the Jets, like I said, I've never seen a show just like that, man. This is like, it was so ridiculous. I mean, just you just couldn't. I got a feeling that there was going to be a 30 for 30 on this. Believe me, there's got to be a 30 for 30 on this one, because there's no way in the hell anybody would think this would happen to a football team, and they have now missed the playoffs 13 straight years. I just
last made the playoffs when Mark Sanchez was the quarterback.
Yeah. And the last time they were in it was in the AFC Championship, when I guess they lost to the Colts or something like that. So, all right. So, is there anything else you guys need to wrap before I get to this topic? No, you good? Okay. All right. So, this year we lost a lot of people, and I want to say that, some of these people you might recognize and some of these people you might not recognize. But I got a list here that I wanted to read for you guys. Okay. Ryan O'Neal, Norman Lear, Matthew Perry, Richard Roundtree, Suzanne Summers, Annie Wershing, Lisa Marie Presley, Harry Belafonte, Tony Bennett, Lance Riddick, Tom Sizemore, Richard Belzer, Raquel Welch, Cindy Williams, David Crosby, Jeff Beck, Adam Rich, Anita Pointer, Treat Williams, Sandra Day O'Connor, Harry Kissinger, Rosalind Carter, Frank Howard, Ronald Isley, Diane Feinstein, Tim Wakefield, Gary Wright, Jimmy Buffett, Bob Barker, Paul Pee Wee Hermans Rubens, Sinead O'Connor, Alan Arkin, the Iron Sheik, Pat Robinson, Tina Turner, Doyle Brinson, Denny Crum, Joe Kapp, Vida Blue, Jerry Springer, Michael Lerner, Willis Reed, Bobby Caldwell, Joe Pepitone, Bud Grant, Robert Blake, Tim McCarver, Conrad Dobler, Terry Holland, Burt Backrack, Bobby Hall, Billy Packer, Sal Bando, Gina Lollobrigida, Andre Brower, Charles White, Hopalong Cassidy, Johnny Lujak, Dick Grote, Eric Montross, Superstar Billy Graham, George McGinnis, Frank Wycheck, Vic Davalio, Harold Hasselback, Willie Hernandez, Peter Seidrick, Dr. Charles Stanley, DJ Hayden, Dick Drago, Walter Davis, Walt Garrison, Dick Buckus, Jim Brown, Bobby Knight, Brooks Robinson. Other ones that I didn't get a chance, well, I wanted to mention them last, but here's a couple other ones from the sports world. Russ Francis, Phil Sellers, Mike Williams, Gil Brandt, Pat Corrales, Terry Funk, and Rick Geronet, who was the Buffalo Sabres announcer. There's a couple I wanted to talk about: Dick Buckus, Jim Brown, Bobby Knight, and Brooks Robinson. You guys have any comments on any of these?
Jim Jim Brown was like one of the best running backs in NFL history. I think all of his seasons he made the Pro Bowl, and he was a very talented running back for the Cleveland Browns. And after his career, he was like a star. He was like, I think he was a civil rights activist as well.
Mm-hmm.
And rest in peace. He will be missed.
Dante, you have any comments on the four that I mentioned: Dick Butkus, Jim Brown, Bobby Knight, or Brooks Robinson?
I know you were a huge Brooks Robinson fan. We also got a chance to meet him long time ago. It was like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost like 20 years ago, me and you met him at Christiana Mall. This is before Caden was even born.
Yeah.
This was before he was born. So met him at Christiana Mall, and I know you were a huge fan of his, so I know it was a real treat for you to get a chance to meet him, get an autograph and everything like that. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Well, I'll mention this in a few. Bobby Knight to me he was basically one of the greatest. He was the greatest basketball coach of all time. I mean, other than John Wooden, Adolph Rupp, and a couple others, I thought Bobby Knight had the charisma. He got in trouble a couple times or so, but I thought he was one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. I thought that if I was able to have some kind of basketball skill, I would have played for Bobby Knight. He was the type that he didn't take any mess, but he wanted all his kids to graduate, which was something that we hardly see. And like I said, he made it a point where you got to graduate. Undefeated teams, the last undefeated team in college basketball, and like I said, Bobby Knight was crazy, but I loved him. I thought he was a great coach. I wanted to mention about Dick Butkus. Dick Butkus was the greatest middle linebacker of all time. I mean, we talk about Ray Lewis, we talk about Mike Singletary, a couple other guys, but they were great. But Dick Butkus basically invented and modernized the linebacker position. You could say Lawrence Taylor, you could say all these other guys that have been out there. But Dick Butkus, from 1920 all the way up until about 1973 when he retired, all that time, Dick Butkus was the most feared defensive player in the league, in the NFL, and one of the greatest of all time. I gotta say, defensive player, Dick Butkus was. Jim Brown was the greatest lacrosse player we ever had in this country. And I tell you, he was amazing to the point where he was a great actor. He said, hey, right after the 65 season when he had a problem with Art Modell, he says, screw it, I'm going to quit, I'm going to go act. And he was an actor. He was great at acting. And like I said, Brooks Robinson felt like a personal blow, when I heard of his passing. And like I said, I met him so many times, and he would always, from everyone, I have never heard not a bad word about Brooks Robinson. He was always friendly, always kind, and like I said, when me and Dante saw him at the Christiana Mall, he saw me, I was wearing an Oreo jacket, and he was like, hey, come up here. I know you. Come up here. And he said, hey, man, you sitting back there looking like Al Bunbury. And I was like laughing, and, he was just a kind-hearted man, and he was really, really good. Some of these other people I just wanted to mention. George McGinnis was a one of the catalysts of the early of the Sixer teams that actually were pretty good back in the late 70s. They, when they went to the finals against the Portland Trailblazers, they got beat, but him and Dr. J, Bobby Jones, Daryl Dawkins, all those guys carried that team. Jerry Springer was probably one of the most craziest shows of all time. And Jerry Springer was actually a mayor. He was a mayor of Chicago. And then he had a little judge show that he did for a little while. But very, very interesting guy Jerry Springer was. I'm looking over some of these other names that I can think of. Richard Roundtree was the original Shaft. Back in 1971, he played Shaft. Sinead O'Connor was a great singer. Very, very misunderstood, but she was a great talent, great singer. Nothing Compares to You is still one of my favorite songs of all time. Bob Barker, The Price is Right. If you ever watch that show, and you know that his name is a legend, and they basically he was one of the greatest daytime or game shows of all time. One other, Tina Turner. She went through a lot. She was beaten when she was married to Ike Turner, and really, really great singer, great voice, and still some of the songs that she made, are still great today. We lost our former First Lady Rosalind Carter, who was married to Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy is still around with us today. So I'm just my condolences to the Carter family as well. One other I got to mention was Andre Braugher. He played in Glory. He was a great actor. He also played in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if you ever watched that comedy show. One of the greatest, and just an amazing actor. Now, if I have to mention another amazing actor, I have to mention Louis Riddick. I'm sorry. What is his name? Lance Riddick. I'm sorry, Lance Riddick. If you ever watched The Wire, he was He was the captain of The Wire, and he's played in a couple other movies. The last movie I saw him in was the Caine Mutiny, a reenactment of the Caine Mutiny, which is pretty good. I watched it maybe 2 or 3 times. Anything that has to do with the Navy, I always try to watch.
He's also the concierge in the John Wick movies.
Yeah, John Wick movies as well. If there was a couple wrestlers, superstar Billy Graham, I remember him. Terry Funk, the Iron Sheik. Like I said, there was a lot of people here that we lost. Pee-wee's Playhouse was probably one of the most craziest Saturday morning shows I ever watched, and I really, really got a kick out of Pee-wee and all of his craziness. If you ever watch Pee-wee's Playhouse, you'll notice that there's a young man in there named Lawrence Fishburne, who actually was one of his characters in there. We lost Lisa Marie Presley, who was the daughter of Elvis. And if you didn't notice, I actually liked a lot of the 70s shows, and I still watch a lot of them. All in the Family, the Jeffersons, Archie Bunker's place, Sanford and Son. If you don't remember, most of those, they were created by Norman Lear, who basically was the architect of bringing television into the modern era. Really, really smart mind, and hey, he wasn't afraid to touch on the issues of the day. And still, to this day, Fred Sanford and Archie Bunker are two of my favorite guys of all time. Ronald Isley of the Isley Brothers, we lost him. Conrad Dobler was a Facebook friend of mine who I talked to a lot, and got a chance to talk to him as well. Willis Reed, one of the greatest New York Knicks players of all time. Charles White, USC, Heisman Trophy winner. We lost three of them. Charles White, Hopalong Cassidy, and Johnny Lujack. Eric Montross was a recent passing, and I noticed that I had to mention as well. All right, Matthew Perry, Walt Garrison, Walter Davis, DJ Hayden was a former Raider, wasn't he? Dante? Yeah.
Yep.
Raider and Jaguar as well. All right, so basically, I think we're about done. I want to say to everyone out there that this has been a very, very great year for this podcast. We did a lot of different things. We did a lot of things that, I tried to create a lot of different things and try to do a lot of things that, was kind of different. But next week, the format is going to change. And I know that I've been kind of promoting it for the last couple weeks that, I might put it off. But now I feel as though that I have to do it in a different way. And things are going to be a little bit different. So I want to thank everyone out there for their, contributions. Especially I got to, give a big shout out to all the, guys that I usually, mention. There's a lot of people that I wanted to, have to mention. Do you guys have anybody you guys need to mention?
No, I think you wrapped it up for us.
All right, you, Kata? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Your mic is down a little bit low. That's okay. I want to say that I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for all your thoughts, words, and hopefully 2024 can be a lot better. But like I said, things have to change sometimes for the better, and I think they will change for the better. And like I said, I wanted to give a shout to my man JP, my man John B. I appreciate you and thank you. And, like I said, all my other friends, Mary Mack, and all the Fowls, all the DLs, everybody. Like I said, there's a whole lot of people. I just want to make sure that I mention my man Dave May Jr. has been a very, very big help for me getting my baseball knowledge together. But like I said, I want to thank you guys once again and say, hey, you know what? We'll be back here next week, and looking forward to the new year. You guys got anything you want to wrap up before I split?
No, sir, but thank you for having us on, Guru.
Always. You guys are always welcome. And Caden, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Caden, you got anything you need to wrap up?
Thank you for having me on, and go Eagles.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm not going to say anything. I never say anything bad about the Eagles. I'm not a hater, but I just want to say that good luck to you guys, man. And I'm just kind of praying and hoping that Jacksonville can win these last two games. so they won't have to be sitting at home watching this thing. But with my luck and the way everything has been going with my football teams, they probably will be sitting at home. All right, guys. So I really, really appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we will be back next week with episode 201 of the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. We're gonna wrap this up, and thank you guys for all your work, your hard work, and we'll be seeing you guys next week. You guys take care. Please subscribe. Please download. Do all those things. Catch us on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, Podbean. This podcast is going to be changing because it's going to be different, promotional, and we're going to be putting things on different platforms as well. So you guys take care. We'll talk to you soon, and Happy New Year, and hopefully your New Year is very prosperous. You guys take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Later.